3 at 3 every day, I break down for you the unusual activity that we see in the markets. Today is no different, so we're getting started with today's version on the 27th of January, 2021. The disclaimer is, the lawyers always make me do it, folks. The disclaimer is that this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only, full stop. All investments involve risk, even those where you're chasing a stock up 690%. We'll get to some of that. But nonetheless, please understand that there are risks involved with investments and that this is not investment advice. Intellectual property. Well, yes, we have registered marks, trademarks, we have patents, and we have copyrights on virtually everything you're about to see. So please ask us before you reproduce us. That's it.
Steve Matthews, Bloomberg.
All right. Since I'm in love with these memes about Bernie Sanders and those mittens, I thought you guys, those of you who are also in that club, might like this one. There's Polar Bear and what's left of Bernie. Now let's get to it. All right. I wanted to show you some stocks that had open interests in put options that were large, as well as stocks that had large short interests. You understand probably that both indicate that there are people who are betting on the downside. Those people have been getting squeezed in a big way. So even though the market is going down like a rock today, those squeeze stocks are doing pretty well. This is one that Pete talked about just this week. He talked about it on Monday. And the stock space, that's Virgin Galactic, was $34.50. Where did it go today? $52.16, just a little bit ago. Again, following the stocks that are likely in that Wall Street Bets forum, that are likely stocks with large short interests or large puts, are pretty prime areas. And we follow unusual call activity, but I'm pointing out several of these to you because they happen to be talked about a lot lately. And we don't just talk, we walk the walk, and we saw unusual activity in each of these. For instance, AMC. So that's from the 15th. So that is 11 days ago. The 15th, AMC was a $2.34 stock. They were buying the February 250 calls. Now, those calls go out another 3 weeks into the future at the 250 strike. That was just out of the money. So how did those calls do for us? Well, I'd say pretty well, wouldn't you? Those 250 calls, the right to buy the stock at 250, would be worth a lot of money right here, nearly $16. That's what I call a winner, folks. That's why I trade options. And look at how fast it happened. You see in the middle of that chart, that middle would be approximately the 15th of January, when the stock was 250-ish. And now the stock is $17.99, up $13. Bang. How about this one? BlackBerry. We also just talked about this one recently, and I cited it last week. Well, 6,700 of those 22nd January 8 calls. How did they do? Well, they did pretty well. And that's just one of many trades in BlackBerry, one of many trades in AMC, one of many trades in space and so forth. I mean, these stocks are on fire. So, since I do love you retail traders, and you've seen me write it, you've seen me say it, I truly do believe it, that I trade the same way you do, guys. When Chamath, who was nice enough to be on with Halftime today, when Chamath from Social Capital, his facts and, you know, his legacy at Facebook and so forth, when he was on talking about retail can do just as well as the big guys, I didn't fight him. I said, yes, they can, but it's not a level playing field. They get information, they get tipped off to stuff, not insider stuff. I'm not implying that. That could happen as well. But I am implying that if I am a $2 billion hedge fund and I'm levering that 10 to 1, so it's trading like a $20 billion hedge fund, and I'm a big customer at a prime broker, I don't know, several come to mind. I am at a big advantage over you, but that is not how I trade. I trade through a retail account just like you. Yeah, I have accounts at Morgan Stanley and other big brokerages. I'm not going to name them all because some of them would prefer not to be mentioned, but I trade my own money primarily. My investment side of my business, I give to somebody else because I am active in the markets. And I trade the same way, point and click, that the Robin Hoodsters trade, that the Wall Street bets guys and gals trade. I trade the same way. So, of course, I care about regulation not coming in to impede you or me from doing what we do best, which is trade. After we've moved the odds into our favor, we make a trade and we try to hit them hard and then pull money off the table. And if we're wrong, we try to cut our losses and move on. Here's another one, Gogo. Gogo Internet, Pete was talking about. This is obviously in-flight internet and so forth. Gogo, he was talking about this one Monday, February 20 calls, 25,000 of them trading on Monday, the 25th. Well, how did it do since Monday? Pretty well, because Gogo screamed past 1340. Now it's up to 1577. And as you see there on the left side of your screen, shares outstanding, 83 million roughly. Shares float, 40 million. So there's a float of 40 million. Only half of those 82 million shares or 83 million shares are in the float. And of that float, 44% are short. You think that's what's going on in Gogo? Because that's what I think's going on in Gogo. I don't think it's, oh, everybody jump back on the planes and their subscriptions to Gogo are flying out the door. No, it's short interest.
That is a more positive outlook.
If you'd like to learn more, go to marketrebellion.com/get started. That is marketrebellion.com/get started. We can teach you how to trade options, which means you can follow along and do trades like I do, like Pete does, with less risk and better reward. It's all about reward. Whether you're Dave Portnoy, whether you're Chamath, whether you're any of the guys and gals at Wall Street Bets, I'm not a YOLO trader. Knock on wood, by being in the markets for 39 years, I've made a good living at this. I don't want to put all of that on black. Instead, I want to swing for singles and doubles and make money every day that I can in the markets, rather than saying, well, if I bet it all today and it doesn't work, oh, you only live once. No, that's not my philosophy. But nonetheless, if you want to take a big leveraged bet on something, why not do it in a way that you really understand the risks and that you can get the most reward for that amount of risk that you're taking? Think about it. Anyway, let's get to today's presentation. Starting with Express. Here's another one. Express, bullish call buying. The stock was 476. They bought 5,500 of these calls. And how's that? The stock doubling. Doubling. I mean, it's just silly time, folks, in some of these stocks. But nonetheless, EXPR Express, this is another one, along with AMC, along with Gamestop, along with Gogo. You get the idea. A lot of activity means that people are lining up on these stocks, and they're not focused as much on the rest of the market. In fact, a lot of the regular folks are kind of panicking because they're saying, wow, all these 2 million traders over at 2.7 million over at Wall Street Bets, they're all making money and they're all squeezing these guys, and I don't want any part of that. Okay, well, see you later. Nonetheless, the rest of us want to make some money. That's why we're trading this way. If you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, I would encourage you strongly to do so. Why? Because tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing Jamie, who is the founder of Wall Street Bets, on my podcast. If you want to get that, go over to YouTube and in the search bar type in Market Rebellion. And as you do that, you'll be subscribed. If you click the bell up on the upper right corner, Then every time a new video posts, whether it's Pete's, The Take, he does it every day at 9:30 Eastern, whether it's my 3 at 3 every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, whether it is something like the podcast, you'll get all of it for free over at YouTube. So please subscribe. We appreciate all of you who have shared that link with others. If you go over to YouTube, type in Market Rebellion and subscribe. Unusual activity. Let's get to it, folks. KDP. So I told you this is my final trade. We didn't have time for unusual activity on the show today, as you might imagine, because Scott and Chamath had a great discussion about regulation, about trading, and so forth. I was able to kick in a little here and there. This is Keurig Dr Pepper. I think you know what both of them do. Keurig coffee and Dr Pepper, another refreshing beverage. So Keurig Dr Pepper bullish call buying. Stock was 32.72, and they bought 6,000 March 36 calls. So they paid about 40 cents for those calls. Now, what do you think happened when I mentioned this one on the halftime report today? I'll let you think about that. You think a lot of people bought it? Yeah, they did. And the stock spiked up, Keurig spiking up into the $33, $34 range, as you see there, $33, $33. It was moving higher as more and more folks jumped on the idea that maybe this thing's got a lot of legs. Check it out. Watch, see where it goes. I love the action in Dr. Pepper Keurig or Keurig Dr. Pepper. I also love the action here. You guys already know that I am an investor in Voyager. It is a platform where you're able to trade from your cell phone. And it doesn't matter if it's an Apple or an Android. Voyager is a publicly traded company in Canada. Full disclosure, Pete and I own a lot of this stuff. We believe in it. So does Charlie Shrem, one of the crypto OGs. I would say check it out. It's commission-free trading, just like Robinhood, except for crypto. It is also 50-plus digital assets, so it's not just one or two or a handful of. This one's Canadian stock. It's also in the United States on the bulletin board, and it's trying to uplist to NASDAQ. When it does, this stock is going to just rock, I think. But I think crypto made easy is a great concept, and a lot of people want to register for it. And they can, again, get the download on the Apple App Store or from the Google Play Store. Let's talk about DS. DS is an interesting stock. It might also be getting squeezed a little bit here. $3.53. They bought 5,800 of the 5 calls for a dime. That's cheap shot, folks. That's only like $58,000. But they bought more than that. This is just the first trigger in here. And if you've ever seen any of these golf setups, folks, like Total Golf or any of these where people go out and they have a couple pops and they hit golf balls and they try to hit targets and all the rest. This is that, except it's with putting, and I think, can't remember if it was Rory McIlroy that just signed with these guys, but they did have some good news just come their way recently. And stock's $3.38. You see it moving up today from on the lows about 281, up now 57 cents or about 20%. Drive Shack is the name of the stock. DS is the symbol. The next stock that we're talking about, the third of our 3 at 3, is Build-A-Bear. Oh, you think this one might be getting squeezed too? Yeah, me too. So with the stock at $6.85, we note that 5,000 of the February 750 calls changed hands. So these are calls that are approximately 65 cents out of the money. Now you could buy those and pay 55 cents. You could buy a 650 call or a 7 call and sell a higher strike. That's what I did. But in any case, Build-A-Bear Workshop, you know what they make, Build-A-Bears. You go to their, out in a mall somewhere or in a standalone store in a strip mall or whatever, and there's a Build-A-Bear Workshop there, and they give you this unfilled bear and you attach it to the machine and it fills it up with stuffing, and you make that bear just personalize it for how you want that bear to be. Is that a great business? Well, apparently it is. Now, I wish them nothing but great success, and especially since I'm long calls, I wish them great success in the short term because I'm in the February 750 calls. There's the stock spiking to 692. Again, it was 685. It's now 692. It's up 45%. Let me say that again. 45%. You gotta like that. Build-A-Bear Workshop, feeding frenzy. You know what's going on. Bang. If you have questions, we've got answers. You have questions? I've got questions. Okay, you've got questions. Here they go. At Jon Najarian or at 3@3_UOA. Send them in. Tesla. All right. Tim Othy, which I suppose is Timothy. Tim Othy, which is TIMOTHY 3399, asks, Jon Najarian, 3@3, really good earnings on tap. Are you positioned in any Tesla? Yes, Tim Othy, I am. I've got call spreads in Tesla. I think Elon Musk made 2.7 million more friends yesterday because anybody in Wall Street Bets that wasn't already an Elon Musk fan had to be a fan yesterday because the stock closed at what? Was sub 200. Today it traded to 350, and Elon Musk put out a little tweet yesterday that helped provide some of that boost. So did one of the Winklevi. And I love Tesla. I think it's a great company. You heard that the Biden administration is going to be buying EVs, buy EVs, but they're going to be American-made EVs. Let me see, who makes EVs in the U.S.? Let's see, Ford does, General Motors does, Tesla does, and they made nearly 500,000 of them last year, which if you check the numbers at the other guys, they couldn't handle what the U.S. government demand is. I'm not saying Tesla gets the whole order, but if it's U.S. made that Biden wants, I think he's got to go to somebody like Tesla for that fleet. But I'm sure they'll also spread it around, as they should, with Ford, with General Motors, with Fiat Chrysler, and so forth. So, yes, I still love Tesla. Goldman Sachs, GS. Aline Fleming asks, and her handle is at ALLENEJ, Fleming, FLEMING. Aline Fleming says, hey, Doc, love your 3@3. Thank you very much. Tell me, why has Goldman Sachs stocks performed so poorly over the past 12 days? They had a phenomenal earning result. Yes, they did. They think they were on the way to the moon, rather, and fell rapidly, nonstop. What do you think? Okay, here's what I think. We had unusual activity in December, just ahead of earnings. Stock was 255. The stock spiked over 300. Not in one move, but over time, just went bump, 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 over 300, and then started falling. David Solomon, the CEO, had his pay cut and his compensation cut. A number of people were let go. Also, they had a regulator problem over in the EU. So, do I like the stock? Yes. I would buy it again. I think it might get to 260, Aline. So watch it at about that level. 260, 265. I'm a buyer back into Goldman Sachs through call spreads. How about William Legate? That's at William, WILLIAM, LEGATE. Hey, William. So it shows on the screen my put spreads that I put on in Gamestop. As you'll note, almost all of that is April. I might even be able to skate with some of those Marches, which might finish worthless. I shorted March 50 puts there, as you see, for $13. And I might be able to skate on those because if we're above 50 in March, those puts are worthless. So my position is it costs me hundreds of thousands of dollars to put this position on. If the stock stays above 60, well above there now, if it stays above 60, then I could lose $44,000, as I said on the halftime report. If it breaks through 60, then I make a lot of money, especially if it does so after March expiration. Now, by the way, March expiration is just days ahead of when their next earnings report is. And the stock's going to have to try to justify why it is wherever it is, whether it's a lot lower or a lot higher than where it is now. How did their quarter go? Did they make as much money from the revenue of people returning those DVDs that they use for video gaming and trading it in for $100 and paying $150 for a new one? How did they do with them? Well, we'll see. I think that's March 23rd, that earnings report. But I like my odds here. I've got 44,000 at risk. I could make hundreds of thousands of dollars if it breaks that level. So we'll see. The question from William Legate is, there's a billionaire on CNBC complaining he's lost hundreds of thousands of dollars betting against the Reddit trolls. First of all, I never called anybody a Reddit troll. Second of all, thank you very much. I'm not quite a billionaire yet. And Chamath is a billionaire, and he obviously was not complaining. He jumped on the long side with you guys. So kudos to Chamath, again, at Social Capital for that great trade. My trade is, I think over time, the fever breaks and the stock comes back down, and I wanted to set myself up for that. So I'm in these put spreads. We'll see if it pays out. If it does, every penny of profit I'm giving to Barstool Fund. That's right. So if my $44,000 investment ends up being worth $150,000 or whatever, I'm going to write a big check to Barstool Fund. Barstool Fund, it's got a link up on our website. Most of you know that is Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy created Barstool Fund because he was so frustrated that so many of his favorite restaurants were under such severe pressure. And then he expanded it beyond just restaurants. But I agree with Dave. I think it was wrong to shut these guys down, and I pity those poor folks. I try to give as much business as I can here in Chicago to the businesses that I can go to, either dining in the small cases that there are, they've reopened now, or buying from them and tipping generously, because these poor people are just on, that ragged edge. I'm not trying to make me a hero. This is not about me, but this is, if I have a big winner here, which I might by April, we'll see, William, but if I am, that big winner is going over to support those businesses, because that's one of the ways that I and my firm, Market Rebellion, are giving back. We've already given to the Barstool Fund, and we hope to write a big check in March or April when a lot of these puts start to come off. We hope to write a big check then. So we'll see. But yeah, not yet. I'm not a billionaire yet, and I wasn't complaining, and I certainly wasn't calling the Reddit guys trolls. I am, however, fascinated by Wall Street Bets and the Reddit guys and gals. Thank you. FCX. Gita Lazari. Sorry, Gita. When you're dyslexic like me, sometimes it's hard to just ramble these off. But Gita, whose handle is at GITACHT, says, John and UOA. Hi, John. What do you think about FCX? Thank you. I think FCX was fantastic performance. Too much, too fast. Didn't have a huge short interest. Didn't have all the Wall Street Bets guys piled in on it. And so, after getting up to 32 or wherever the top was, the recent top, it has pulled back to, say, 26, 25, something like that. I think it's getting ready to make another run. So as they start talking about stimulus, which hopefully, this distraction for the impeachment, I wish there was more about the stimulus and the rebuilding with infrastructure. That's what's going to drive this stock. I think that'll come our way quickly, because I don't think this impeachment trial will be nearly as long as the last one. So, Gita, I think FCX goes back to work as we start moving towards either the next stimulus and or the infrastructure bill. So that's my play. I'm not really going to jump back into FCX until we see unusual activity betting on that. If you'd like to learn more about unusual option activity, please go over to marketrebellion.com/UOA. We do this every day. I either do it on TV or I do it 3 at 3 every business day. You can tune in and see which are the creme de la creme stocks where we see unusual buying, because just like the cases I showed you, in many cases, these end up being 3x, 5x, 10x winners. That's what I'm in the game for. Although I am also very disciplined about pulling money off the table when I've got winners and so forth. So, folks, one last plug. Check out Market Rebellion, because in a little over half an hour, I'll be live on Market Rebellion. Got to register, but we're going to be doing information about iron condors. It's a neat way to trade with options. I think you'll get a lot out of it. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern, about a half an hour from right now, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up. Ryan Mastro and I will be there presenting. I hope you join us. And you got to register at Market Rebellion to do that live. Please do so. Thank you.
For asset bubbles, for what's happening with Gamestop, what's happening with anything.